You're trying to bring a god to life. Well, what is that? Well, larger than life. Okay, well, that's what wrestling is. How's it going?
Adam Copeland, I'm going to tell you a quick story.
All right.
I signed with Comicbook.com in June of 2022. I fly down to Nashville. I say, I want to do two things here. I want to be your Percy Jackson guy, and I want to be your pro wrestling guy. They told me, Liam, those two things could not be further apart. And then you came along. Walk me through getting cast in this series. Was the haircut part of it? The absence from WWE? How long did you have to keep this secret?
I bring worlds together is what I do, Liam. Yeah, that's what I do.
That's incredible.
Anyway, how did it all come together? Honestly, I just got an audition, and I read it. I was like, I know this guy, and it's not far removed from a wrestling character, Ares. So you're supposed to inhabit a god. You're trying to bring a god to life. Well, what is that? Well, larger than life. Okay, well, that's what wrestling is. I'm wearing spandex, and I got to emote to a football field of people away. So it kind of helped in getting my Ares chops down.
And do you notice the irony of Ares' signature weapon, at least Clarice's signature weapon, being a spear?
I mean, there's so many. It was serendipity. If this didn't happen, I think the gods would have been upset.
They very much would have been. Dia Goodjohn is so phenomenal in this show. I don't know if you're going to share any scenes with her this season. We don't have to get into that. But did you have any conversations with her about your father-daughter relationship?
None whatsoever. We still haven't met. That's how...
She's here?
I know. And that's how, the scope of this production, you realize, there's so many moving pieces. There's so many different moving parts. And so I didn't meet any of the other gods. And just truly, I worked with Walker and Arian and Leah and had a blast. And but hopefully tonight I'll finally get to meet everyone.
That's incredible. Rapid fire questions right now. Okay. We're going to run through the AEW roster. You're going to tell me who their godly parent is. Kenny Omega.
Oh gosh, that's a tough one. Let's go with Poseidon.
Okay.
Yeah.
Will Ospreay.
Oh, who flies?
Hermes has got the winged feet.
Yeah, I think it's got to be Hermes. Yeah.
We'll go your enemy right now, Christian Cage.
Oh, Hades.
Swerve Strickland.
Ooh. Oh, that's a tough one. Help me. It's not Dionysus. No.
I feel like it could be Ares. It's pretty evil these days.
I mean, that's not far off. Okay, we'll go with Ares.
Okay, here's an easy one. Darby Allin.
Hades, actually.
There we go. Britt Baker.
Athena.
And final one, big one, bit of a who knows which one this one's going to go. Maxwell Jacob Friedman, MJF, your world champion.
Oh, gosh. Hi, daughter.
Hey.
We're meeting for the first time.
On camera, here we go.
It's so nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you, too.
How are you?
How are you?
I'm good.
Good.
Thanks.
Good. Nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you.
That's my daughter.
That's a pure interaction right there. Oh, okay.
Maxwell Jacob Friedman. Lance Von Erich.
Ooh. That's a good one right there. Every time I talk to Walker, he mentions how
Goodness, this guy.
it was legitimate fear he felt when you screamed after you broke his spear. The conversation immediately after that you had with Walker, the scene ends, the camera cuts. You tell him to relax a little bit?
I couldn't speak after the scene. I blew my voice out doing the scream, but it was worth it because we got the shot. So.
Hey, you made my dog sit up when we watched the screeners. She was like, "Oh my God, whoa!" And I'm glad. I wanted her to watch the show too. You just met Adam Copeland for the first time. That was pretty surreal to see happen in front of my eyes.
Awesome.
Are you familiar with his work in the Squared Circle?
Yeah.
Did you watch any matches?
With my dad. My dad used to wrestle when he was in high school, so we would watch wrestling together, and I knew of him. So when I figured out that he was my dad, I was like, why does this guy look so familiar? And then I go to his Instagram, I'm like, oh, you're you.
That's what it is. You are genuinely the best part of episode 2. I was blown away by your performance. And here's to seeing more Clarice in the future, because if you read Sea of Monsters, you know. 92NY on Monday, feeling that energy. I know you guys were at D23, but that was before, we saw really any footage, any trailers. What was it like to just be in a room packed full of Percy Jackson fans and Camp Half-Blood Orange tees?
I'm wearing it at the London. A little intimidating, if I'm being honest. But they were all so happy. They laughed at everything. Yeah, I don't know how to describe it. It's a weird feeling, you know? You got to be there.
Absolutely.
There too. I saw you. That was awesome.
When you pointed, of course, I was like, oh my God, these kids still recognize me. That's hilarious. Because LA was a week ago, it feels like it was a year ago.
Doesn't it feel like it was so long ago?
This press tour must have been insane for you guys.
Oh yeah, yeah. It's
Canada, New York.
New York's probably my favorite. I like New York the most.
This whole atmosphere, when you signed on to this project, I believe you got cast in January of 2022. Now here we are almost 2 years later. Just tell me about the energy you're feeling right now.
I'm excited for you guys to see it, and I'm excited to see it because I haven't really seen a lot of it. I've seen the first 5 episodes. That's it though. So I'm just excited as you guys are to see it.
That's incredible. One final question for you. We know later in the books that you're going to share a scene with Lance Reddick as Zeus. Just talk to me about that day on set, Lance's presence, and just your memories of him as an actor and as a friend.
Well, first of all, he was an amazing actor. Just get that out of the way. He was fantastic. Every take he did was like completely different in a good way. And like as a person, in between takes, I would sit there and just talk to him. And he's just a great person to talk to. He was an amazing person.
Charlie Bushnell, you play my favorite character in this series, Luke. I'm not going to say his last name because technically it's like a revelation in the later books. Talk to me about just the strength and purity and brotherly bond that Luke and Percy Jackson have in the show.
Yeah, I mean, they're just like best friends for life, man. Luke, you meet him at Camp Half-Blood for the first time, and he really just welcomes Percy in and makes him feel at home and shows him the ropes. And yeah, he's really just like a mentor, big brother figure to him, and I think it's going to last forever and ever.
Forever and ever, forever and always. Your godly parent in this show, Mr. Hermes.
Yes, check it out. I got the catechist symbol. I got that.
That's incredible.
Yeah.
Your relationship with Lin-Manuel Miranda. I don't anticipate you guys sharing any scenes in this season, but I'm sure you guys had some conversations. What were the chats like with Lin?
Like you said, I didn't actually get to film any scenes with him this season, and I actually haven't met him yet. I'm really hoping he's here tonight so I can meet him. But We've had a few like funny online interactions, some online banter. I remember when they announced him on the Percy Jackson Instagram page. I commented like "Dad?" question mark, and then he responded "Son," and then I went to Greece over the summer. And I went to a museum, and there was like a ancient Hermes statue, and I posted that, and I was like,
I saw the tag.
Yeah,
I saw where the tag was placed.
And then he was like, keep this up, and I'm gonna kick you off the phone plan or whatever, something like that. So yeah, we've had some funny interactions online, but I'm really excited to meet him in real life. Yeah.
Okay, Mr. Aryan Simhadri, I took the subway to get here. It dropped me off across the way of Central Park, so I had to walk all the way through Central Park, and now I have calves of steel.
Hey, join the club.
Talk to me about Monday, feeling that energy. I know you guys were at D23, very different atmosphere though. Those are all just Disney fans in general, clearly familiar with Percy Jackson. You were in a packed theater full of die-hard Percy Jackson fans. What did it feel like?
I didn't know people could scream that loud, I'm going to be honest. I mean, they were so supportive. Everything we said, every little joke that they made, they were so receptive. And it's my first time standing in front of that incredible of a crowd, and I loved every single one of them. And you were in the second row, right?
I sure was. When you guys pointed me out, I was like, oh my God.
Man.
Of course, I was like, I'm in New York. Anything Percy Jackson, I am there for. Another question for you. Everyone keeps raving, Rick and Becky specifically, about an original scene that you share with Ares in the later episodes. Spoiler free, of course, that day on set, sharing the screen with Adam Copeland, your just emotions in general.
So it's basically an interrogation scene. I'm not going to tell you who interrogates who, but there is no acting in that scene. That is real fear in my eyes. Adam is one of the nicest people I've ever had the pleasure of meeting, but when he's Ares, no acting. I'm terrified. Every time I leap out of my seat, every take I jump out of that like that couch. That's real. That's real fear.
I'm from Boston.
Yeah.
Earlier this year, I saw a little movie called 80 for Brady. I told every one of my friends, that guy plays Kyron. They said, who's Kyron? I said, you'll know in December. Talk to me about the dynamic of playing first Mr. Brunner and any differences you brought between when he's wheelchair-bound as a teacher and when he's centaur-bound as the leader of Camp Half-Blood.
Well, I think the differences are obvious, just physically. When he's Mr. Brunner, he's, like you say, wheelchair bound, and but the energy and the mission, I think, for him is really when he is the leader of the camp and the chief of camp Half-Blood, and where he's mentoring the youngsters and getting them prepared for all of the slings and arrows of life and its adventures, and he takes that responsibility very seriously.
He's clearly such a leader. He has such a regalness about him. I love your portrayal. One final question for you, though. You have a scene that if you watch it very quickly, people might blink past it. But when Percy's getting expelled from Yancey Academy, over to the left is Mr. Rick Riordan, who created this whole world. Filming that scene, sharing the screen with the man who created your character, created everything. Just walk me through your emotions of that day.
Well, Rick Riordan, he's a cool dude. And his enthusiasm really was very catching. He was on the set, most of the time, and you could see his mind clicking in terms of what's next. What is this going to translate to become, So he was really into, and it was all I could do is say, so what's happening next season, but he's really on top of it, and we had a wonderful time.
Hello, Jessica. Thank you so much. Everyone's been complimenting it. I feel like it was money well spent,
Money well spent. Is it vintage?
Oh, it's Express. This Express, Marshalls, Burlington Coat Factory, balling on a budget, but trying to pretend.
Everyone's freaking out because it doesn't matter what something costs or where it's from. It's like, is it fashion? And you are fashion.
That's what it's all about.
It doesn't matter.
Thank you so much. Let's talk about you here.
Why?
Medusa is dripped out in this show. A very different look than what we've seen in graphic novels and prior movies. Just talk to me about when you first saw the character design for Medusa.
I freaked out. She was the coolest. I was like, I can't play this. I'm not that cool. She's it's a very 30s, 40s kind of vibe to her. Almost 20s too. I don't know. Is it 20s? Is it 30s? Is it 40s? It's all of them combined. Her very long red nails and red lip, and she's very still, and there's something about her that I don't know, made me very intimidated and afraid of her, but also I wanted to hear her story and give her a big hug.
Leah, let's talk about Monday. We made eye contact through the crowd. I saw you feeling that energy. Talk to me about just being in a room packed full of Percy Jackson fans and just what feeling that love firsthand meant to you.
Oh my gosh. I mean, I never could expect something so good. I literally I love all my fans, of course, and they are so amazing. They're so supportive too, and it's a lot of them. So it's a lot of them. I did not expect that many people. When it said panel, I thought it was a taped one. So I was like, okay, just gonna be us. Then right when I got there, they were like, okay, so maybe 600 people here. I was like, 600 people? I was like, let's back up on that. You did not tell me that, but I literally, it was like a dream come true. It was so surreal.
That's so incredible to hear. One final question for you. Your godly parent is Athena. What are some of the best qualities that Athena has that you think Annabeth also possesses?
Well, also her competitiveness, and she loves to battle, which I do too also. And Annabeth is very, very smart. She has a lot of wisdom.
Olivia, I'm sorry to say, you did a good job if I say this. I despised your character in this show. You did a phenomenal job just selling Nancy Boba Fett. Talk to me about that day on set, working here at the Met Museum and messing with Arian and Walker, excuse me.
So most people do despise Nancy. I despise her myself, but as Nancy, and as me as well, it's so much fun just to step outside of my box of bullying and picking on both of them. And it was a lot of fun working with them too, because as soon as the cameras cut, I was back to being nice. So I wasn't mean to them outside, which it's a good thing.
No method acting on this one. One final question for you. For as far as we know in Percy Jackson lore, Nancy Boba Fett is immortal. However, amoral, not immortal. However, if she were to be a demigod, who do you think her demigod parent would be?
Hades.
I reminded Rick that this is his third tour that he's done this year. Third.
Insane. You have been on the press tour of a lifetime. A big question to start out, Rick. You said once upon a time in one of your blog posts that the movies were your life's work going through a meat grinder.
Yes, I did.
What's the show?
I think you regret that, though.
No, I don't. I love the actors. There's a lot of great things about that. But as an adaptation, they weren't very good. And so, I mean, here we are. What does this feel like? This feels like really, I finally think I understand what people mean when they say coming to life, a book coming to life. I sort of always was irritated with that before, because, well, what's wrong with a book? A book is alive too. But I get it now, because this is so much more three-dimensional, so much more visual and incredible and technicolor. It's just great.
And Becky?
I don't know. I don't even know. I don't have words. You know, I don't usually have a lack of words. I don't.
Speechless speaks for itself. Guys, another thing I want to bring up to you, obviously this was a super long process. Disney acquires 20th Century Fox, and I know you both got to work on making this thing happen. That first day, the pitch, versus the day that Disney first understood your vision. Can you just kind of compare and contrast them?
It really was incremental. There are so many people that we needed to get to know and talk to and build relationships. So it wasn't one meeting or it wasn't one call, but it was a series over the course of about 6 months,
Right.
where I think we started to develop a rapport with people, meet the right people, get them excited. I think what helped the most is that at this point, Percy Jackson is well enough known that a lot of the executives were able to say, oh, my daughter's reading that, or oh yeah, I read that in college, or whatever it was. There are so many personal connections around this series, and it's become part of their lives as well. So in that sense, it was a much easier sell.
Wonderful to hear. Becky, anything to add?
No.
I'm glad you're speechless. It speaks for itself.
I am.
Your expression speaks for itself. Guys, congratulations for real, both of you. This is incredible. Absolutely. I want to talk to you about the mother of all monsters. What's going on in St. Louis Arch? You're throwing a kid hundreds of stories.
A kid who deserves it. A kid who deserves to be thrown. A kid who deserves what he's getting. This kid killed my kid. This kid killed my kid. And I am, you can call me a monster. But why am I more of a monster than he is? That's my point, I'm like, listen, let's really take a hard look at ourselves, Mr. Percy, I'm so nice Jackson. Like, no, it's not okay to go around killing other people's children. And I don't care if my child looks a little different and maybe has claws and a dragon head or a snake bottom or whatever he has, he's still my baby.
You make all fair points. I can't argue with any of that. Obviously, they take the Camaro for a spin. We go to Camp Half-Blood.
Yes.
We know on the pages how Smelly Gabe reacts to that. How does Tim Sharp's Smelly Gabe react to the Camaro flipping over?
Oh, it's very emotionally. Because I haven't seen it, I don't know this, but I remember being extremely hurt and emotional. There's not as much anger as there is just pure. Like, that was like his favorite thing in the world got taken from him.
So I'm going to go pretty deep here for this next question. I love these books so much, and something that really hit me to my core in The Lightning Thief was Sally Jackson's sacrifice of being with someone like Smelly Gabe, who stinks so much and scares away all the monsters because it means she can protect her son. She sacrifices her happiness to protect her son. When you're reading a character like that, obviously you're doing such a good job portraying it, but personally, when you think about the lesson of who Smelly Gabe is, the deep down lesson of him being in this book, how do you feel about that archetype?
I feel like it's pretty accurate casting, because I did...
You smell lovely, by the way.
I burped in my mouth not too long ago, and the odor that came out was not good, just so you know. But I will say that in the makeup trailer, they stained my teeth. They did add some broken capillaries. I was like, wait, what are we doing here? And they're like, you stink, right? I was like, yeah. We got to make it look like you stink. And so I'm hoping that translated. I don't know if it did. I don't even know if I answered your question, to be honest.
Well, okay, the deep side of the question is a character like Smelly Gabe, Sally's sacrificing her happiness to be with him in order to protect her son. And just reading that, it struck me to my emotional core.
That's amazing.
When it's something that you're playing like that, how does that just make you feel about that character, that archetype, what Sally is sacrificing?
See, well, much like Gabe, I wasn't thinking of Sally when I played it. I was thinking of what, Gabe wants. And it has nothing to do with what Sally wants, because Gabe is a selfish, sad man and that's all I focused on. Not really. I mean, as a reader, I share your emotion. I think that's very beautiful that she did that for her son. But as an actor, I can't focus on that. Otherwise, I'm not doing a good job, I guess.
You need to sell the performance in order to
sell it.
In order to get that theme across.
I hope I sold it. I haven't seen it.
You absolutely sold it. I hated your guts in this show. Oh my goodness.
I love it.
One final question.
Funny, but it's funny.
Funny too. I was like, I don't like that this guy's funny. I want to hate him so much.
That's the best compliment I've ever had.
Timothy, it's an honor. When you were cast as Hephaestus, it took me by so much surprise because Hephaestus isn't in this first book. So when it came to source material for understanding this character, what were you diving into?
Really conversations with our executive producers, John Steinberg and Danny Schatz, who are old pals of mine. Just to really do I got to have many text conversations with them asking what they wanted, who this guy was, and they were really instrumental in helping me prepare for him.
Absolutely. My favorite character in Percy Jackson is Charlie Beckendorf, who, if you know your stuff, he becomes your son. What are some positive qualities of Hephaestus that you hope to see Charlie Beckendorf take on one day?
Probably his kindness.
And his blacksmith forgery?
Well, that's a given. Yeah, that he becomes a chip off the old block.
Very cool. I'm very excited for your episode. I don't want to give too much away, but I feel like you might be related to the Tunnel of Love. What can we expect when you and Percy and Leah get up into cahoots?
I'm not sure what I can say.
We'll keep it lip sealed for now. One final question for you. The character of Hephaestus obviously has a romantic relationship with Aphrodite. Is that something you've started to fill in terms of backstory, or are you just kind of playing with what you have right now in season 1?
I just really, the backstory is his sort of the pain over how that relationship did not necessarily turn out the way he'd hoped it would be. Which it's all sort of part and parcel of what makes this guy a real god. A real, more fleshed out human, if that makes sense.
And when Adam Copeland starts messing with you, I wouldn't want to mess with you, Timothy Amundsen. I feel like Adam Copeland might want to watch his back.
I think Adam has nothing to worry about. I mean, granted, I do have a pretty solid stick, but have you seen Adam's? I'm
a diehard wrestling fan.
Okay.
I'm well aware of what Edge is capable of.
You know the kind of washboard we're talking about.
Yeah, but you bring that cane in, I don't know if he's going to stand a chance.
Well, he'll have a metal folding chair then.
Myself and my mom really bonded over this book when I was very young. This is the copy my mom used to teach. She's a middle school teacher, and it became required reading in her curriculum, and I want to say 2011. So we really formed a bond over this, and we have a similar relationship to Percy and Sally, which gives me such a grasp of a connection to this lore. It's crazy, right? There's a stamp on the inside too, the whole Boston Public Schools and everything. Pretty special. I want to ask you about the character of Sally Jackson. She makes one of the most heroic unsung sacrifices I've ever read before in entertainment. She sacrifices her happiness, being with someone like Smelly Gabe, to stink away the monsters and keep her son safe, even though she knows by the time he gets to a certain age, there won't be any protecting him whatsoever. Just talk to me about that theme, that archetype, the character of Sally Jackson, and a decision like that, what it does for a reader.
I think what's amazing about this woman is her bravery,
Walker Scobell,
her decency, and how honest she is about how hard it all is. She looks at this boy who feels broken, who feels different, and she says, "No, you are perfect, just the way you are, and I will slay every dragon and fight every monster and marry every smelly, nasty man I have to if it keeps you safe and makes you feel important and powerful and special." And I just, oh God, I love her. And I feel so lucky I'm getting to play her, and I feel so jealous of all of you that came to this world 20 years ago, and I'm so late to the club, and it's such a privilege to be a part of it and to learn how special it is to people. My favorite kiddo after my own children, or alongside my own children, I did this job for him. I wasn't familiar with the world. I didn't know. And I was visiting and I'd said, yeah, I auditioned for this, funny little kids show. And they said, what is it? And I said, this thing called Percy Jackson. And Liam, my dear 10-year-old godson.
My name's Liam.
Oh my God!
This is so many connections.
Listen, Liam,
right now.
his eyes just went big, and I thought, oh my gosh, I don't think I understood until this moment. This is so important to someone who I love so desperately. I have to be a part of telling this story if it's so meaningful to this child. And he's my date tonight. He's here in his Camp Half-Blood shirt. He's got his trident. He's just magic personified, and he's here with me. And I'm so glad you and your mom bonded over this. It's just, you jerk!
Speak of the devil.
This stinker. Yeah.
The episode that you're in is so phenomenal. Talk to me about your collaboration with Walker and just kind of getting to understand him as an actor so you could accurately portray a younger version of him.
Well, learning about Walker and how he's portraying this character was amazing because I know that he understands this character, and I know that he understands that it's this witty kid that is pretty impulsive and really kind, and he thinks sometimes that he's there's something wrong with him, and I think that he portrayed that amazingly, and I just want to do half of what he could do because he did it so great.